Hello everybody, it's JSRT and this is another episode of Cinema Macabro. Today's episode will be about a collaboration that happened between Masters of Horror, Clive Barker, Steve Niles, George Romero, and artist Carlos Castro. Night of the Living Dead London. Originally written in 1993, it was published by Fantaco Books, and this comic book is pretty rare. It's pretty, you can't find it, there's no reprints. And I found out about this through Bloody Disgusting. And I just gotta say that watch this review and you're gonna see how good this book is. Night of the Living Dead London begins in 1969, where an airplane is flying from Pennsylvania to London. A passenger starts to feel sick on the plane and starts throwing up. It is revealed that she has been bitten. In the bathroom, she slowly starts to die and later reanimates. She attacks the crew and the passengers on the plane, fully infecting everybody. When the plane lands in London, the infected passengers start attacking nearby crewmen, which is pretty reminiscent of the Italian horror film directed by Umberto Lenzi, Nightmare City. We then see the sheer scope and magnitude of the infection. London fully infected with the zombie outbreak. 25 years later, it's 1993, and London has been occupied by the undead. The story starts out with Archbishop Hallam, who's a priest. He goes around the outskirts of London looking for a boy. In this case, a young man. He rescues one who's about to be eaten by zombies. He then brings the young man back to Buckingham Palace. This is when it is revealed that Hallam is a gay archbishop. Later on, he then beds the young man in his house, accepting sex for being rescued. I could see this being played by Kevin Spacey. Oh, shit! London's only refuge is Buckingham Palace, which the survivors are the royal family. The boy is later given a uniform so he could blend in with the palace staff. Then we are introduced to the royal family, the queen, the prince, and the king. The queen has this idea to extend the royal blood. She has a theory that if the zombies all rot out, England would remain on top as a superpower, and all they need is new blood in the royal family. They contact the king of Norway, who sent his daughter to marry the prince. They get married and consummate the marriage, only for him not to feel turned on by the act of sex. It is then known he's not attracted to her. The king is slowly going mad. The boy has an affair with the princess, only to be caught by the prince and later become a concubine to both. I don't want to give the rest of the story up, but what we see here is an interesting drama set in the zombie apocalypse. Now, my initial thoughts about a comic book that is the direct sequel to Night of the Living Dead, written in 1993, is that it first and foremost, the writing by Clive Barker, there's lots of traits of Clive Barker and Steve Niles here. In particularly, some of the LGBTQ themes that you would never see in comic books back in the 90s or even heard of were present in this comic book, making the pretty much the themes in this book way ahead of its time. What I can think about reading this book, it almost feels like Game of Thrones. I mean, the drama within the zombie apocalypse makes everything happen. Over here, you can see the social commentaries that you would see in George Romero's Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead, with martial law and racism, consumerism, and militarism, along with the decay of and fall of civilization. This one in particular has the theme of the royal family, the stagnant royal family, and all its little politics that goes within the confines of Buckingham Palace, the last refuge for survival in London. Now, it was pretty interesting the way this comic book was written, and you could see where Clive Barker, a lot of his ideas are in there, and the traits of Clive Barker, where he explores not only sexuality but also the psychological ramifications of like what the character goes through. I love the way he writes, and when he gets visceral, he gets visceral. But in this book, it just feels like the drama that you would see in a Game of Thrones episode, which I love, absolutely love. Night of Living Dead London would make a great series. I'm serious. It's like all the writing is really good. The art by Carlos Castro, I have to say, is phenomenal. Stark black and white and heavy on the contrast. He doesn't miss an opportunity to show the pretty much the destruction of London, of how massive the zombie apocalypse is in London, in England. But also he manages to show like the beauty in certain scenes where there's this sex scene between the prince and the princess of Norway consummating their marriage, and the way he draws like the look on her face as ecstasy is just almost painterly, just almost masterful. Something you would see in a master painting that's quite beautiful and fluid. Also, the way he conveys the characters, quite haunting, especially the protagonist of the story, who is pretty much a sex slave. He's a concubine. He's being used within the confined walls of Buckingham Palace. In one scene where you just see this close up, is his face just feels so haunting. The storytelling in here is wonderful, and Carlos Castro does a great job in translating that script that Niles and Clive Barker laid out, and he just runs wild with it. He's sort of, it comes across as very organic. His work at times where you see the zombie apocalypse spread in 2 pages is amazing. So guys, if you like this video, please leave a like down below. If you want to make a comment, leave a comment down below, and please subscribe, people. And with that, I'll see you guys at the next episode.